All right, my friends, welcome to episode 282 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony, the dev at Summer Speak. How has the last week been for you?
It's been good. Busy, works, ramped up a little bit. Just how it goes in certain cycles. So tired, but kind of invigorating at the same time
That's
because
good. That's good.
it's
What's
fun to make,
invigorating about it?
just making new things
Yeah,
and seeing people experiencing some of those new things in a wider audience kind of way. Kind of pushed it out to a bigger group to test out some things. And that's been fun to see. So,
does Astroneer have like a test server kind of thing?
um,
Or you do it internally and then push it out?
internally.
Okay.
There is a beta thing, but it's not available to most people.
Hmm.
There's a few people in the community that have signed NDAs,
Oh, right.
and will beta test for us. And there are people that have been playing the game for a while, have widely different perspectives on the game and play styles, and then just like what they like to do. And so it's always fun to push out stuff to them to see all these different personalities kind of approach new content or updates and things like that. So,
Right.
but no, mostly it's been just internal, like bigger playtest group, internal playtest initiatives, and just watching people play new things. It's always fun.
Good. Sounds good. My week has basically been adulting. I had a ton of work and I just like knocked it out. Still have way more to do, but I'm not dying of stress anymore, which is great. I actually felt happy in regards to work this week for the first time in a while. And then just dug into retirement stuff because I'm still looking at stocks, digging into all that kind of long-term planning, and found out a couple things. It made me pretty happy. One of them is I've been kind of bummed. I was like, oh man, I'm just now starting a Roth and filled out my 2020 and filling in my 2021 over the course of this year. I'm like, man, I really missed, some of the gains from last year. And then I realized, oh yeah, I have a lot of money in a 403B that I forgot all about. And I went and looked at what it was, and it would have been exactly what I would have wanted to do. Just put into a total index fund and just let it sit and do nothing. And that was fun to find out.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's always a nice feeling.
Yeah, that me 10 years ago did something smart.
There you go.
That me right now.
I should
like, yes.
I should do this thing. I'll do this thing and never think about it again.
Yeah,
But,
totally. I haven't looked at it in years.
yeah.
So I feel happy about that. So now I can go back to non-adulting things like
There you
video
go.
games and Sony State of Play and Pokemon, which is what we're talking about this week. Why don't we start with the State of Play since that was the earliest thing this week?
Yeah, I mean, when did they announce this? It was early. It was like Monday, Tuesday,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then they're like, "Hey, Thursday, there's going to be a state of play." Out of
Cool.
nowhere.
Yeah, 30 minutes. They set expectations, deep dives into 10 games.
I didn't count. Was it 10 games?
I didn't count, but I assume that they're right. And
Yeah.
I don't know. They had like a big one, and then the rest were kind of small, like interesting ones, but there's only one really big one for me.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I felt okay. Honestly, it's a lot like Nintendo's as well. I don't think
Yeah.
2021 is going to be great for games overall,
Right.
in general. Like for big, new, exciting things, it's going to be, I think, a slow year.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's shaping up to be that way. But that people don't want to talk about it yet. So I would think that these big companies don't want to talk about some of this stuff because they just cannot pin it down for this year right now, and they don't want to be pinned down for this year. Because wasn't God of War Ragnarok? Didn't they say that was going to be this year?
Yeah, the first time they showed a title card, and only the time that they have, it said 2021.
I would have expected it to be here if that was the case.
What about Horizon? Do you feel that way about Horizon?
Kind of.
Yeah, me too.
But those two games are ones I could see slipping. Just with or without pandemic, those would slip. If they need more time, they'll get more time. Sony's not going to push those out the door too early.
Why date them last year then? If that's going to be the case?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why anyone dates anything, especially years in advance. Just don't. There's absolutely no reason to do that. For consumers, maybe there's a reason to do it for stockholders and share price and things like that.
Right.
But for consumers, there is no reason to give anything more than at most like a year tops. And even then is stretching it. Probably you want to be under 9 months from whenever you give a date. Because making games is hard and is an unknowable amount of time, usually. So don't do it. Just say, get it out when it's ready. We're done.
Yeah, I wish everyone would do that. I'm not sure how you can tell shareholders and not the public, because all those
you can't.
Public.
You can't. Yeah. That's the thing. Right. So I feel like they just have to put dates on some of these early, just so that it's to ease any kind of anxiety in shareholders of being like, no, this is kind of what our roadmap looks like and what kind of big games we're going to have coming out.
Yeah, I just want to see like constant growth in some way. So I guess that makes sense.
For this, well, how do you want to do? Do you want to do the things like the big thing, or
I do. I think we have the most to say about the big thing.
Okay, is the big thing for you the Final Fantasy VII remake?
Yes, it is.
Intergrade.
Yeah. What the fuck? These names.
Sure. Final Fantasy VII remake Intergrade. Sure.
They talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake having a PS5 version with all the bells and whistles, except for, I guess, not much in terms of DualSense capability, but FPS, loading times, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Graphics on PS5. All looks good. And then they talked about this Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which I have not played 7 to this point, so I don't know if this is from 7 or this is new.
All new.
Okay.
All new.
Okay.
Yuffie does not appear in Midgard in original Final Fantasy VII.
So she's nowhere in the original game.
She wouldn't be. You'd eventually find her once you got out into the open world.
Okay, great.
Later on. Like, that's when she joins your party, and you never have to get her as a party member. She's a completely optional random world encounter you can come across.
So this is making it less random. Like, you are.
I guess you are meeting. They're putting them directly into this storyline. Here and bringing that her nation Wutai, that nation into whatever politics are going on in this world. So yeah, that was unexpected. I assume this is just a chapter or two kind of side thing that gets added in.
What does that mean in terms of length? Like 3 hour, 5 hour kind of thing?
Probably somewhere around there.
2 to 4. Yeah. Okay. So it's a small thing. Okay.
It's a small thing. It would be a couple. I think it's probably at least it's a chapter or two, depending on how they feel like splitting it up. I could see it. I could see Square doing either. I'm curious how you access it if you've already beaten the game, because this stuff's not happening at the end of the game, it seems. At least in the trailer, they're setting it up. It's happening in the middle of the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if you played from the beginning, you might find this in the middle of your first playthrough, perhaps.
Yes, perhaps. I don't know how it gets integrated in. Maybe it doesn't get integrated into the main story. Maybe it's just something from the main menu you can just play.
Are you saying integrated or integrated?
Exactly.
Nice.
Maybe that's the whole point of the name. I don't know.
Her names are so fucking bizarre. Does this give you any indication of when the second piece of Final Fantasy VII would come out?
Nope.
Yeah, okay.
I'm still saying years, probably.
I was surprised to see anything new, so it's pleasantly surprising.
I was surprised when they first showed it, because they showed the Intergrade trailer first, and you're like, okay, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's prettier, it's PS5, clearly. They've even put a little thing like captured on a PS5. But then they cut to person in Moogle trenchcoat, poncho thing running around.
Right.
And then they revealed that it's Yuffie. It was just crazy, because it's just like, what are you guys doing? And I don't know what they're doing, but clearly Square has decided that they're going to tell even more of a different story. And expand on the character, really. They're actually going to put more of her story into the game, I guess, and backstory. Because this is stuff you never really got in Final Fantasy VII, unless you kind of did a deep dive on random bits of dialogue and text here and there. So I don't know. I'm excited. They showed it again. I was like, oh yeah, this was a good game. I enjoyed this game quite a bit.
Well, it's cool off the hype of that State of Play, they then let everyone know they're going to release. It's part of PS Plus starting
Yep.
Tuesday.
But you
The
don't
PS4
get.
version, obviously. PS5
Yep.
version comes out in June,
Yep.
but you can't get a free upgrade.
No, you can't. You actually have to own it. And there's a little. I had to look at the bottom because I have physical copy, and to do
Right.
the upgrade to PS5 from a physical PS4 version, you need to have a disc drive PS5.
Yeah, correct. That's how it is with all the games, though.
But you'll get a digital version of the PS5 version.
Right.
So that's fun. But
yeah, I mean, I have the digital version. I was going to be fine not moving on my disc games, but this one, because I haven't played it yet, I'm like, oh shit, should I wait for the PS5 version? So it kind of makes the year where doesn't seem to be a lot of new things coming out. Like, right now, some of the Nintendo things I'm playing, but then Mass Effect in May, and then Diablo at the end of the year, and maybe this in the middle of the summer. Like, seems to be enough for me for this year.
Yeah. I remember this was like a 40-hour game, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with the extra DLC, probably like 45.
Right.
Not too bad.
That's about how long it took me to get through 15.
There you go. Yeah.
So I enjoyed that a lot. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It will be nice to revisit this in June.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just went through and counted. There were exactly 10 games.
Okay.
They also talked about Kena Bridge of Spirits, which seems like it was kind of quietly pushed back to August because it was supposed to come out April or May. Maybe even
it's
March.
still gorgeous. Holy shit.
Hmm?
The game is so gorgeous.
Oh,
like,
God, it looks
holy
great, yeah.
shit. It just looks like computer animation. CG animated cartoon. Yeah, I'm really interested to play this one. I'm curious because it looks so pretty, and the team that made it is actually a CG animation company.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably one where I wait for some reviews to see how the gameplay is. But it presents really well. In trailers and the gameplay in the trailers seems really polished in that regard. But it's hard to say if that actually translates to the final game being the same thing.
Right. Yeah, it's stunning. Like that's what I felt the whole time. Like this would look so great to play. But yeah, I think I'm waiting for reviews as well. It's their first game, right?
Yeah, first game.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that gives me pause to at least wait to see how well it turns out. The one that I was really excited for after seeing this, and I'm like, oh, I want to probably play that, is Returnal.
Yeah, God, that
Returnal
looked really good. I think it's the first time I've seen it. That looked great.
Yeah, I'm like, it's Housemarque, so it always piques my interest. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time seeing it, being like, oh, this is really cool. I didn't realize it was a roguelite.
Yeah, I think they had mentioned that before.
So I'm sure they have, and it just went over my head, or I just
yeah.
completely missed that they had said it. And I saw it, and I was like, yep, I'm kind of all in for Housemarque making this really pretty 3D roguelike.
Dude, it's the other one from this presentation I thought looked amazing. It really does. And Housemarque's pedigree, like obviously not in this type of game, but like I'm in for a Housemarque game.
Yep. So yeah, that one showed really well. The rest of them, actually, I like the Heart Machine. Solar Ash still looks cool.
God, I thought that looked cool before, but this one I didn't think it presented that well. It just seemed, I don't know, framey or washed out or something about it. It was like, oh, this doesn't look as good as I thought it did. I hope I'm wrong. It didn't.
Yeah,
wasn't striking to me like before.
That's true. I would say this is not as striking as seeing Hyper Light Drifter for the first time, for sure. Like it's still unique, but it just doesn't have as much of the hook that Hyper Light Drifter immediately had in its presentation. So I don't know. I'm curious about it. I don't know. Did they date it? No, they just said 2021. So just this year.
Yep.
So the rest of it, I'm trying to think. Deathloop looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
Stylish. I mean, it's arcane. You can definitely see the Dishonored roots
all
throughout it. I don't know if it's something that's like super high on my list of like, oh, I must go out and get this and play it. But Arcane is a pretty damn good developer. So,
right.
But other than that, I just didn't Nothing really like got me all that excited. Um,
I'm pretty excited for Crash 4 coming to PS5 only because I bought it on sale for PS4 and I've been waiting for a PS5 version, and it comes on March 12th, which is like a really good time for me to get into this.
there you go.
I've heard it's really good, and it's not a new game, but it's new to me. And I'm glad they're going to have all. I'm glad I waited because they're going to put all the loading times are quick. They're using the triggers and other DualSense features.
Yeah.
So, and then 4K 60. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Seafood, did that stand out to you at all?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw that it also did it come out that same day?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Did it? I thought they were just revealing it.
Where did I see it? Was it? Oh no, it's up. It went up for pre-order as well.
Oh, okay.
On
So
on PC areas as well, because I saw it on Steam. I believe it's Steam. Oh, I can't keep it all track anymore. I thought it was. Maybe it was Epic Game Store. No, yeah, it's on Epic right now.
Okay.
As coming
but
soon.
not for, you can't play it right now.
No.
Yeah. God, looking more at Returnal, like it looks like there's so much of their arcade shooters in this.
Yeah.
Really, like some of that style stands out in this game. That's really cool.
Yep. They're that's at the DNA of that company, I think.
Yeah. What a cool way to bring that into a new genre, though.
Yeah.
I guess the other news that came out was that Soulstorm, Oddworld Soulstorm, is coming out April 6th, and it's going to be on PS Plus, which is an interesting. I'm thinking, I don't know how long this is going to last, but it seems almost Game Pass-ish, where like brand new releases are launching into their, value system or whatever it is, the subscription system.
And the key thing is with the PlayStation Plus is you need to be a subscriber at that time to get it.
Right.
Like you can't be like, oh, I'm going to subscribe in May. Well, guess what? You don't get Oddworld Soulstorm if you subscribe in May. Right. So I'm curious how that play. I mean, of course, right now it's going to play out just fine because, well, the PSN is just the more prominent console marketplace right now. Just more consoles, so that's just what people do. But we'll see how it plays out as the year goes on.
Yeah.
Right now, no one can get consoles anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I know that's what people are having. Podcasts and whatever else I've been listening to. Kind of disappointed that Ratchet and Clank wasn't in here, despite having a June release date. And they're like, "Oh man, launch window. That's really liberal interpretation of launch window." And then someone else's counterpoint was, "Well, most people don't have a console yet, so by the time they get it in March, April, whatever, that still will be launch window for them."
It's launch window,
even if it takes you a year to get a console.
I don't care too much about the Oddworld series anyway. So
I don't either. They show it every goddamn time. I'm like, this just does nothing for me. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Oddworld games is the thing. So clearly there's a market for this. It's just not me.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still claim it for my library and maybe check it out. Like I did with Destruction All-Stars, which I played it for an hour and I was like, yep, I get it. Nope.
It's more than I've done. I claimed it. I just haven't played it.
Yeah, I didn't find it. I found the criticism of you spend more time driving around than doing anything else to be pretty valid.
Okay.
I felt I was chasing people more than anything else.
More than actually like destroying things.
Yeah, engaging with them, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the nature of a destruction derby kind of game where like you're going toward each other, and if you hit each other, cool. If you don't, you miss each other.
Yeah.
Okay, but that moment of engagement is like really short, and then you got to like spin around and do it again, and it's just, you're spending more time orienting and heading towards someone than actually engaging with them.
Yeah, aiming and doing all. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, that's what stood out to me from the state of play as well, and. Overall, I thought it was more whelming than the Nintendo Direct.
Yep.
That was certainly underwhelming. This one was merely whelming, I think. Which is not a word, but I'm making it a word.
I would agree. I would agree with that statement. And then we got Pokemon.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with expectations, though, because I think we walked into the state of play with expectations. But for Pokemon, I had zero expectations because I don't really give a fuck about Pokemon at all. And I walked away thinking, there might be one or two games I'm going to buy that are Pokemon related. Weird. What do you think about it?
Overall, pretty, again, like you, not a huge Pokemon person. Like, I learned more about Pokemon through my kids than through me. And, like, we've talked about this before. Like the original Pokemon, this is its 20. I think Friday or Saturday was its 25th anniversary, which is 96. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't have a Game Boy Color in 96. I wasn't playing Game Boy. I was playing PlayStation and PC games actually at that time. 96, right. I was playing Doom and the original Diablo. I think the original like that's just kind of the. I'm like, I just missed the entire Pokemon thing by a few years. Mm-hmm. And then Moon was the Sun and Moon. Moon was the only one I've actually ever played myself, which was a fine game. It's a JRPG. It's an easy to understand and grasp and JRPG, and I understand why it would be easy for younger kids to pick this property up and play it. Mm-hmm. But it's never had those hooks to me. I'm like, cool, yeah, they're fine games. But I was pretty excited to see the Pokemon Legends Arceus. I don't know. My kids would correct me on what it is. It's Pokemon God, basically.
Right, exactly. And I heard a lot of Pokemon podcasts talking about this afterwards, who all the Pokemon fans were like, I always thought it was Arceus, but it's Arceus. So okay. I guess it's Arceus.
Arceus, okay.
Yeah, but a Pokemon God, correct.
Pokemon God. Which I lovingly was calling Breath of the Pokemon.
I mean, they were just drawing comparisons with the vistas and the music.
They were, and I mean, if anything, I'm pretty happy that they're moving forward, at least from what the trailer shows, and it's very light, I'll be honest. You're like, I can't get a lot from this trailer other than their vistas. It's kind of open world-ish, and maybe not turn-based battle style, like actually hiding in grass and having to throw your Pokeballs at Pokemon, and battling is handled differently. It seems like just a divergence of the main Pokemon formula, which I think fans of Pokemon have been clamoring for a long time. So
yeah, that's what it seems like. And I'm with you, where I felt like when it initially started the trailer, I was like, oh, is this Breath of the Wild Pokemon? And then as it went on, I was like, is it partially that and partially Pokemon? Like, are they going for it, or are they just like, are they going to be conservative in that, I don't know, design?
Yeah.
I hope they go for it, because that is the first time I've seen a Pokemon game and thought, I want to play that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's supposed to be next year, so.
Yeah, early 2022. So, yeah. Which is interesting because they announced remakes for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which I think are fan favorites overall. I don't know. Some coworkers were really excited to see these remade. Yeah. But they were on the DS, the original DS. But those are late 2021.
Yeah.
So I assume there's not going to be much time between those remakes coming out, maybe like 3 or 4 months tops, and the Pokemon Legends coming out.
Yeah, based on what they said, but I feel like early 2022. I mean, I'm saying early. Maybe they're optimistic, but I can see that being like a fall game.
That could slip.
Yeah. I mean, it's COVID times with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Who fucking knows?
And it does show something with the Pokemon Legends game, is it's not 2 games.
Right, that's true.
It's a single SKU. Yep.
Unless
they're hiding it for later, and there's Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then Pokemon Legends some other Pokemon God thing. I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, other spin-offs like Go, like they did the dual thing, Eevee and Pikachu, or Piku, or I don't know what the fuck it was. Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah, Let's Go Pikachu.
And
Let's Go Eevee. Yep.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I'm excited about that. I'm very excited about that. The other one I'm excited about, got more excited about actually, was Pokemon Snap. I have a daughter who likes photography and likes exploring and likes monsters, and this seems like it might hit, or I could get it and it could just totally fail. I'm hoping they have a demo.
I do too. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'll get it or not. My daughter has asked. I showed my kids the trailers. For it and stuff, and she was like, "Oh, that looks fun. I kind of want to play that, but not like, oh, I really want to." But there's definitely a like, interest has been piqued. So like you, I hope there's a demo, because then she could try a demo and see if it's something that is up her alley or not.
Right.
Again, I just totally missed the whole Pokemon Snap thing. I mean, Pokemon Snap was N64.
N64. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Never played it.
Yeah.
I know
Me
it was
neither.
a popular thing. But again, like, it just wasn't. I think we were just a few years too old for it, basically.
Right.
Like, we just missed this whole Pokemon insanity and uproar. It probably doesn't help that I didn't have a N64 myself, so I wouldn't own it. But
Yeah. Who was that? Travis's that we played.
I played Jacob's a lot. Jacob
Okay.
had one.
Mm.
That's
But
where
when
I
we
played
did
all.
our weekend, that was I think Travis's.
I think.
Yeah, was mine. I didn't have one.
I didn't have one either. Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess
I
that's
mean,
not true. My cousin had one, so I guess
there you go.
technically
You could have played it through that, but
yeah.
that wasn't
Yeah. No.
what was coming over to taking to different people's houses.
No. Yeah, definitely not. No, on that system we had a WWE game, and then we had Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
Those are the two games that we had.
So
and 64, obviously. So
but I do know a lot of people really liked Pokemon Snap back in the day. So
yeah,
it's
people
kind of
kept
crazy
asking
to
for a remake.
yeah, to see a new one. Really, I mean, 20 years later.
Right.
Little more than 20 years because I think that was probably like 97 or 98 when
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Snap came out. Speaking of feeling old, 20 years ago today was the Nisqually earthquake in Pacific Northwest, Tacoma, Seattle area.
Oh wow.
I was in the shower in my dorm.
Like, what the fuck's happening?
Oh, I knew it was happening.
Yeah.
Growing up in Northern California, you know the sound of an earthquake.
Yeah.
It just took probably a couple seconds for me to be like, "What's that?" Oh, yeah. As I
How
have,
big was it?
6.9.
Jesus Christ.
Lasted for 45 seconds, and I was not joking in the shower, shampooing my hair, like just doing my thing in the morning and being like, and that was when I had a dorm suite. So it's not like just open floor stalls of showers, just one shower in our little bathroom, in our dorm room, and none of my suite mates were there. It was just me doing the shower. I'm just being like, oh shit, what do I do?
Dang.
Race myself in the doorway of our little suite, completely butt naked while this thing's going on. And then being like, oh god, watching crap fall off my shelf. That was fun.
Right.
Yeah, that was. So I feel old today because that was like, shit, that was 20 years ago. Oh my god.
Dude, 20 years ago was 2001.
It was not.
Oh my god.
I mean, I constantly go around thinking that the 90s were 10 years ago. So.
Right. Yeah, totally. Well, the thing that always gets me is like, okay, if you were a kid in the 90s and you thought about the 70s and how far away those were, the 90s are further away
Oh.
than the 70s were.
Oh, man. So, I mean, what does that mean for, like, I wonder what that means for all the kids, like, listening to Nirvana now.
That's classic rock.
It has to be at this point now. And even though, like, I was out doing my grocery shopping, a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, week ago, and it was it Kurt Cobain's birthday?
April. No, that's his death.
Yeah.
That makes sense. February.
And the local radio station just was playing like constant Nirvana. It's still a standard up here.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect anything else.
So like when he died and when he's born, we're just gonna play Nirvana on the radio all day in heavy rotation.
Right. God damn.
So yeah. So people have been waiting a long time for Pokemon Snap. And I assume a lot of these people will share it with their kids and younger generations now.
Right. I mean, if it was a Hyrule Snap, dude, my daughter would be all the fuck over that. I don't know about Pokemon. She knows who Pikachu is, and that's kind of it.
I'm curious.
No, Charizard.
I mean,
she knows Charizard.
It took a while for my kids, but they eventually had their dive into Pokemon there for a bit.
Yeah.
Neither one of them is like super into it anymore, except that it's just like one of those properties that's just always around. They're like, oh yeah, I like that.
Right.
So because it's built so well for the kid brain. Collect all the things. care about all the things. All the Pokemon just say their name. They just say their own name. So
Well, just all the different designs for all the different,
yeah,
Pokemon.
yep.
Um,
So yeah.
like Monsters in My Pocket when we were kids. I don't know if you
Oh
got
yeah,
into those at all.
I know what you're talking about. I didn't, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Garbage Pail Kids, whatever else.
Garbage
Like
Pail
anything you can
Kids.
iterate on
Yeah.
and just
Yep.
continue to spool out and sell.
Yep. Well, Nintendo chose a winner with this and investing in
Uh,
Pokemon back in the day.
yeah, Jesus. That's paid dividends. How about what we've been playing? My daughter and I have been playing Bowser's Fury, and we were going to load up. Oh, okay, Bowser's Fury and Paper Mario, kind of on alternate days. She wants one or the other. And then yesterday, I was putting in. She asked for what the fuck? She asked for. Oh no, she didn't know, and I was like, okay, well, I just listed a couple games. I mean, we can play Paper Mario, we can play Bowser's Fury, we can play, Mario Galaxy. She's like, play Mario Galaxy. Okay, so I put in the, the 3-pack cart that just came out, and we loaded up Mario Galaxy, and we did this one level that was like, I don't know what it is about Galaxy, but I was like, I couldn't do it. I was like, oh no, I need to like focus on this because I was like half paying attention to her, half paying attention to the screen, but like it was like changing. It was like a cube you had to rotate around and change all the switches from blue to yellow, and I was like, I constantly missed like the last one, and when I finally died, she was like, let's try something else. So I pulled back out to the title screen, and she's like, what's that? And it was Mario Sunshine. She's like, let's try that, and she just fell in love with that game.
Nice.
I've never played it, but it has a lot of similarities to Bowser's Fury. It's weird. The paintbrush, like, I don't know if you've played it. Sunshine?
No, never
Okay.
played Sunshine.
There's like a Shadow Mario who has a paintbrush and paints everything, and Bowser Jr. has that in Bowser's Fury, and you run around collecting shine sprites, which are like sun medallions, and in Bowser's Fury, you collect cat shines, which has the same mechanic when you catch it. There's like a ton of similarities. It's crazy. But she was running around with the water pack, spraying water over the paint that was all over the island to kind of get rid of it so you could clean up the island, Isle Delfino or whatever. And we played it for like an hour, and she just loved it. And it was in a stark contrast to earlier in the day, I hooked up my computer monitor with the Nintendo Mini because I wanted to see if she would have an easier time with just a D-pad and 2 buttons, playing Mario 1 or Mario 3 or whatever. She wanted to see original Zelda and original Metroid. And boy, no.
Yeah.
No. Playing Mario 1 or Mario 3, no. Just like moving plus jumping for the Goomba, totally difficult. But her moving Mario in a 3D space, no problem. She can move him, jump him. Like she was doing some crazy stuff yesterday, like jumping between different like altitude in the level, different levels in the level, basically. That she is just like really fluent with versus a 2D space where she's just like, what do I do? Which is so weird to me. You kind of think like, oh, let's start on the basics, but no, she's already like she's doing just fine on a 3D space.
Yeah, it's similar with my kids. Like
Yeah.
I showed them, I think Link to the Past. My son never. He's like, no, this is hard. But then he's playing Breath of the Wild just fine.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if it's like made like just watching her play Mario 3 versus Mario Sunshine or Bowser's Fury or even Mario Odyssey. It's easier. These ones are easier than those. Like, how is that easier? But it fucking is. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. Similar experience.
Yeah. And then my wife and I played, we're doing a co-op video game night once a week now. We played for the first game, Heave Ho, which is this Devolver Digital published game where you're like this head with arms, basically. And then your left arm is L and your right arm is R, and that's all you have. And you're trying to traverse these platforms that are spaced out, getting from the start to the goal. And the way that you have to do it in co-op, where you're working cooperatively, is sometimes the platforms are too far away for one person to reach. One person has to hold onto the ledge, hang down, grab the other person's arm, and start swinging. And this weird physics, then swing, let go, and they kind of reach the platform and grab it, and then they reach back and grab you, and kind of alternate going back across the landscape. It was fun. It was definitely had a lot of hilarious moments. But man, the difficulty ramps up pretty hardcore. She's a novice gamer in terms of using the controller, so after a couple of levels, it was just like, this is, unless you have two people who are just like really on it, like this is actually pretty fucking difficult. So that kind of sucked a little bit for what our purposes were. I think even like if you and I played it together, it would take us a while to
Okay.
get through like the middle runs that we were working on. But $10, it's a cheap co-op experience. It was I presented her with three options: that one, Moving Out, and Spiritfarer. And she was interested in Spiritfarer, but she correctly guessed that it was a long experience versus HEFO. We could do it for a night and be done, kind of thing. So yeah, that's basically all I've played this week. The rest of the week has been playing work.
For me, it was some more Valheim with coworkers, actually. Like, we've been doing
Nice.
some lunch playing and a little bit there. Mostly it's just like, hey, this game's really popular. Like, more people at the company should be playing this just to see what it's doing and what's doing different in the genre and why it's selling. I think it sold 4 million copies now.
Oh wow.
So in 3 weeks, it sold 4 million copies.
Wow.
And so nothing new from what I've played before. The co-op is a little bit, it's fine. It can be chaotic if you're not communicating that well. A bit like, oh, I'm going here or there, and you need to work together to like build up your base and things like that. Map isn't shared between players either right now, which I think is something they're going to add in the future. It's kind of bare bones co-op. Like, there's not a lot of structures and gameplay is designed for the co-op experience. It's just like, you can play this co-op, like, and so people need to actually like just talk and structure their play into that co-op experience. Like I'm going to be the one staying back at base, building things, cooking food. Can we get someone to go out and get a bunch of wood and get a bunch of stone? Like, go off and do these different tasks. So it's good to know, though. Astroneer follows a similar pattern of like, you can play Astroneer co-op, and it's a really fun co-op experience, but it doesn't push anyone into a specific like, hey, you're playing co-op, you should do these things. It's like up to the group playing to figure out how they want to structure their play, and what they want to do, and which was part of the design going forward with that game. So I'm curious if that's what Valheim's going to do, or if they're going to add more pieces to the co-op experience. But we'll see. They have a whole roadmap for this coming year. And we'll see what gets added and how that might change with 4 million people buying your game.
Right. Yeah, that it's like Among Us, who are like, yeah, we're going to cancel our sequel and just go back to the first one and work on it.
No plans survive unscathed at that level of success.
Yes, totally.
Which is fine. And then I have been playing a shit ton of Persona 5 Strikers.
Yeah, I bet.
Holy crap. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much.
Yeah, good.
I understand the combat a lot better now. It's awesome. It's Muso combat, but very, very tactical. Very tactical.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's punishing if you're not paying attention to weaknesses and swapping characters to match weaknesses better. Persona weaknesses. It's fast, like really fast, intense combats. In some ways reminds me when we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, because it's an action-based combat system. So you're just flying around these little tiny arenas, just doing all sorts of combo attacks, switching characters, pausing, throwing your persona out. And for the most part, it cuts out all the social aspects. So it's really just kind of like, all right, do a dungeon, going through it, hop out of the dungeon, talk to some people. Don't have to worry about what, like, running out of time or anything, or like, this is the night and this is the day. It's like, no, talk to the people, do the social stuff here, jump back into the dungeon, back and forth. And neither one has outworn its welcome. Like, it's really well balanced of jumping between those two things. I think some people will be, I don't know, annoyed or should be expected for the series. There are times when you're watching a lot of cutscenes and a lot of dialogue. I think I've recorded about 25 minutes as my top. Like, I'm just sitting here listening to people talk
for 25 minutes.
Yep.
Is Kojima in charge of this?
Nope. There's a lot of talking sometimes.
Yeah.
But Persona 5 had a lot of talking at times too. So right. I mean, that's that's the expectation of the games and the genre. I am generally okay with it because yes, it was long, but it wasn't a like, why isn't this over? It's like, No, it's just long. I'm listening to good dialogue and interesting story. So, plot is progressing. Um, I don't know. I've really enjoyed it quite a bit. I think I'll probably platinum it. I think I'll be very close to all the trophies by the time I beat it. So,
That'd be hard not to then.
yeah, it'll probably only take 5 to 10 hours to platinum it after beating it, I bet. So, I don't know. I think it's a really good addition, continuation of the storyline. I really like the combat system. I'm to a point where I'm like, can we just have this combat system in the next main Persona game, please? Like,
That's awesome.
This is just fast, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with JRPG turn-based thing, but when you have like a real-time action combat system done really well, it's a ton of fun. It's just very dynamic, adds a nice dynamicism to the gameplay. So I don't know. I'm really excited to be playing it and get done with it, and then I'll be sad because there's probably not going to be any more Persona 5 stuff ever.
Yeah, you had 5, then Royal, and now this, and then you're done. Then it's on the 4, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're done. I think then we'll get 6 in a couple years. Not earlier than 2022 is my thought. Probably a little later, because I think there was a fairly large gap between Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5.
Right.
So
then it's time to go back to, the name is escaping me. It just came out on Switch last January. The redo of the Wii U game that has FE Sharp.
Something. Oh yeah, Tokyo Mirage Session.
Thank you. Yes.
I need to do that. Yes.
That might be one to hit. Although you have plenty of games, so.
I do have plenty, but that is a good one to consider. I have it on listed as just waiting for a sale more than anything on it. I'll just pick it up digitally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I'll do this. I mean, tomorrow is the first day. I guess when people are listening to this, we'll be on March 1st, so we'll be in March, and then I'll be progressing towards Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, it's the end of the month, right?
Yep.
I just saw the Monster Hunter. Maybe you saw it before, the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks okay, I guess.
It's fine. I'm not buying a new Switch. Just
no. I almost bought the Animal Crossing Switch just for the fucking Joy-Con. I was like, I could just buy the Joy-Con. Stop.
Yes. And then I thought about there's the Pro controller coming out, which maybe I'll get. A lot of places haven't even taken pre-orders
for the Pro controller.
Yeah, I mean Target has and is out, but other places I looked just don't even. They haven't even opened pre-orders for it because it doesn't release until the day the game comes out.
Right.
So, but even then, I'm like, whatever. I don't care that much to get one or not.
Well, apparently Target opened up the pre-orders for the Zelda Joy-Con that I didn't notice.
Yep.
And then they were gone.
Yep. So we have that.
Those are ones I probably will buy on eBay if I have to. To be honest, hope I don't have to, but I want those.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think Strikers is going to last me until Rise though, so I got to figure out what I'm going to fill that couple weeks with.
Have you heard of this game called Curse of the Dead Gods?
I have just started hearing Curse of the Dead Gods. Is it it's a roguelite thing. I saw a couple streams on it. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard it a couple of times on podcasts recently, and then I've been looking at it, and it's different than Hades, but it was talked about in the very same kind of breath as Hades in terms of some of the superficial similarities, but then there's a lot of depth differences. I don't know. I've had my eye on it for about a week now. It came out 23rd out of early access.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's definitely on.
Didn't you buy, or did you not buy Hyrule Warriors?
I have not bought Hyrule Warriors because Cyberpunk was coming out.
Yeah, well, you finished it. Yeah, that's right. You had your time with that game.
I did have my time with the game. It's a very flawed, but enjoyable enough game. In silly ways. Which maybe I'll come back to. They delayed the next patch for it anyway, which is good because they probably should, because the first major patch they put out broke the game even worse.
Yeah, slow your roll. Also,
yeah, basically yes.
they couldn't use their computers after the hack, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, that's true as well. They had to deal with that crap as well.
Yeah. So man,
Which
that
is
sucks.
shitty.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
yeah.
I feel like it's interesting because as we mentioned earlier, there's not a ton coming out this year, but there's enough like, a game like this or like I don't know, the remakes coming out, like I don't know, I feel like I'm pretty good for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I've
there's
got
still going
stuff
to be
to
a couple of big
play,
ones coming out, I'm sure.
but there's definitely there's definitely some downtime this year. Not like a ton, but like, oh yeah, I'm having these periods where it's like, oh, there's not a huge release like every couple weeks.
Right. Yeah.
Which it
It
felt
gives
like the end of last year kind of was. It was like, holy
it,
shit, there's so much.
yeah, so it kind of gives you time to play some of those games, but
Yeah.
also like time to breathe between
Yep.
I don't know, because like Returnal end of April, end of May Mass Effect,
Yep.
June is Ratchet, and I guess Final Fantasy VII remake
Yeah.
if you haven't played that.
If you haven't played that, or new stuff if you have, still cool.
Yeah, and we don't know when Diablo 2 is coming out. I assume it's like September, but
September, October is my expectation.
Yeah. So I don't know. Seems like a good cadence, and then
Yeah.
throwing in Pokemon Snap if you're into that. But there's another one coming out. Maybe I'm making that up. I thought there was one other big Nintendo game this year, but
That they've announced.
now I'm blanking, so that seems like I'm wrong about that. What was in the Direct? Didn't they have one game that was coming out this year?
They have
I don't remember at all.
some stuff. Oh, I mean Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah, that was it. Thank you.
That's this year.
Skyward Sword. Yep. Which I probably will pick up because apparently I've become a Zelda fan.
That's
since
fine.
The birth of my daughter.
I consider myself a Zelda fan. Still can't pick up that game again.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Although, as I've been told, real Zelda fans don't like Breath of the Wild. So
I've heard that for sure. Some people listening to this podcast.
There is so much divisiveness on that game, which I didn't realize.
It breaks the formula a bit,
Exactly. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But whatever. I other podcasts that we listened to, I hadn't noticed that Kind of Funny had done a best Zelda games.
Oh, I didn't
review.
Notice that.
Like it came out sometime last year, and they
okay.
went down the mainline Zelda games. I'll spoil it for you. Breath of the Wild was the number one.
Oh, gee, surprise. Oh, that was Barrett Courtney. He did that, and then he went and did the Assassin's Creed this year.
Yep.
I
think because I watched the Assassin's Creed, YouTube linked me to the Zelda one, so I was able to listen to that one as I was working. And I people can have their opinions, but they're wrong. Breath of the Wild is the best by far.
Yeah, I haven't played them all to completion, but I played bits and pieces of enough to know that I like Breath of the Wild the best. Although, take away Breath of the Wild, what's your number 2? Is it Link to the Past or is it
Link to the Past? Link to the Past. And so we could get into this in the weird ways I've talked to other people about it. I don't particularly have a lot of nostalgia for Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't have an N64. I played it later after I played Wind Waker, because when I got Wind Waker, I got the disc, and I still have it, that has Ocarina of Time as well, and the Master Quest Ocarina of Time.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I played it mainly there, but I played some of it at friend's house in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a thing that, like, some people just absolutely love Ocarina of Time. And I'm like, I don't have that love for it. I think it's a really well-made game, and it pushed 3D platforming forward quite a bit. But, when I think about Zeldas that I'm very nostalgic for, and, like, I love Link to the Past is the one. Where I truly loved that series. And the next one I really enjoyed was Wind Waker. Really enjoyed was Wind Waker.
Yeah, I think mine would be the same order as yours almost, but I would do Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, then Link to the Past.
I could see that. I could be argued with that I could put Wind Waker above Link to the Past. But just off the top of my head, it would go Breath of the Wild, Link to the Past, Wind Waker. And I'd have to think after that what they are. A lot of respect for Ocarina of Time, but it just doesn't hold that place in my head. I guess it just wasn't the game during that formative time for me. So which
Yeah,
I think
if
it
you hit
was
the
for a
right
lot
time,
of
like
people.
this is like doing something new, and
Yeah.
I think my cousin would probably say like Ocarina of Time,
Yep.
just because he like was playing the 64 at the time when that came out and was just obsessed with it.
Yep.
So I watched him play it more than I played it. So
Yeah. So I don't know.
now you've given me an idea what I'm gonna watch or listen to while I'm working tonight.
There you go. It's a
Zelda recap. That's
long
cool.
thing. I'll give you that.
What did you listen to the Assassin's Creed one?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god! When he started like repping Syndicate, I was so happy. It's like it is such a good game, and it's such a great Assassin's Creed game. And then as I was playing it way back in the whenever it came out, I was like, this is like a fucking Batman game. That's exactly what he said. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
someone else thinks the same thing.
What was their final list on Assassin's Creed? I can't
I
remember.
didn't get to the end, so I don't know.
Uh, I can't
If it
remember
were,
what it was.
mm,
I know
what would
Brotherhood was up there really high,
yeah,
and it stayed
I can see
really
Black
high.
Flag being the number one for him, but I don't know.
Just give me the actual list. I just want to know. I can't. I don't want to load the video because it will have
Right.
audio, and I don't want audio because my recording software will pick it up.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. They're fun to watch though. I'm curious what your opinions would be finishing that. Just both of them. I feel like my tastes and who was the guy who did it? I can't remember his name.
Barrett Courtney.
Yeah, I think my game tastes match his pretty well. So for the most part, I think he had Odyssey very middling in the pack there, and I put Odyssey quite a bit higher.
Yeah, I've heard his him talking about that game, and he's not as high as that as we are.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll stop talking about best games right now.
Yes, we've just
close this up. Yes.
We went on several tangents. Thanks for staying with us. If you're here, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Tell a friend, all that kind of stuff. We will be back next week talking about. I'm going to be talking about Smash Brothers because we have that Smash Brothers Direct or whatever deep dive into Pyra.
Yep.
So looking forward to that. Always like new characters. And until then, thanks for listening.
All right. Later, everyone.